Well, it's that time of the year where folks are doing their what's in my camera bag videos, so I figure I jump on the bandwagon and show you what's in my camera bags for 2025. Although I consider myself a primarily Canon shooter, in practice I'm brand agnostic, so I have several different setups depending on where I'm going and what I'm going to shoot. Okay, let's start off with my grab and go bundle. And this fits perfectly in this GoPro case. The camera is the OG Sony ZV-1. Although this is marketed primarily as a vlogging camera, it takes incredible pictures. In fact, the reason why I got it was because I was looking for an RX 100 with a 24 to 70 millimeter equivalent 1.8 to 2.8 lens to take with me to Italy. So when I couldn't find one, I discovered that this camera has that lens in it, but it has the updated focusing algorithms. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I searched for an open box at Best Buy, and as luck would have it, they had one. And I was able to get this right before my trip, and I think I only paid $550 for it. I did add this newer grip just for extra security, and this turned out to be the perfect travel camera. When you open the screen, it turns on automatically, and it extends the lens, and you're ready to go. I took all my pictures and video on intelligent auto settings, and everything turned out beautifully. The only downsides are the batteries are very small. They're tiny, in fact. Also, this camera, the body is old enough that it charges by micro USB instead of like a USB-C. And the micro USB is less and less common these days, so you have to make sure that you have one with you. So, I always make sure that when I travel with this camera, I have this extra battery. You can see it outside of the camera, it's very tiny. And then I also have a micro USB cable with me, which is this one right here. I did purchase this vlogging handle to use with the camera. So that's this one. It will actually work with numerous Sony cameras. But honestly, I found that the image stabilization in this ZV-1 is not good enough for walking around point of view video. So I actually use this primarily as a remote control. So I can zoom in and out, I can trigger a photo, and then I can also start and stop a video. For walking around video, I much prefer my GoPro, which is the second item in this case. So this is the GoPro Hero 11 Black. With it, I also have 2 spare batteries. These are the Enduro batteries. And then I also got the USB-C charger for it. I do shoot in a custom setting if I'm shooting anything on the motorcycle. But otherwise, I just use the presets that are built in. So I either use the cinematic preset or the open gate preset, which records at 5.3K using the entire sensor. So that's an 8x7 image. And the New Year's Eve fireworks that I just posted recently, that was all shot in open gate. Oh, here's a big one. I have 3 accessories that I use with the GoPro. The first, of course, is the ubiquitous selfie stick. I like this one in particular because it extends. And it also has a lanyard. Then I put a carabiner on the end just for security. So if I'm shooting anything on the motorcycle, I use this clamp. This is really awesome. I just clamp it to my handlebar. I also sometimes can clamp it to the passenger foot peg, just for a different view. Now, ironically, this actually is a clamp that comes with the Insta360 X3 and X4 bundle. But it's a really good clamp. And then you can see, I just put this little adapter here that has the GoPro fingers on it, so I can use my GoPro with it. And finally, for point of view video, walking around, I've been using the official GoPro chesty. I don't think the whole thing will fit in frame there. This is the second gen. I have the first gen where this entire piece here is plastic. So this second gen is much more comfortable. You can see that it actually has a padded cloth backing, and you just put the GoPro right here. Okay, so what else do I have in the case? I have a USB-C cord. And this is what I use to charge either the GoPro directly, or if I want to charge 2 batteries at once, I can use this. I have a micro SD adapter. So the GoPro uses a micro SD card. And I'll put the micro SD card into this adapter, and that way I can plug it directly into my MacBook Pro, and I can get the video off that way. I have an extra SD card. This is for the Sony. I also have the wind muff, but like I said, I don't shoot a lot of video with the Sony ZV-1. This would only be in a desperate situation that I would actually record video on it. I also have an Apple tag. And finally, I do have an extra wrist strap here that I keep with it. So you can see everything fits neatly in this one case. It also, once I zip it up, it fits essentially in the bottom of all my backpacks. And so with this particular kit, I can take really great pictures, I can take really good video, and it doesn't take up much space at all. Okay, that's kit number 1. Okay, let's move on to kit number 2, which is actually my most well-developed kit. Ordinarily, I'm carrying all of this in a ThinkTank Retrospective 30-liter V2. Unfortunately, the bag itself is too big for my current setup here, so I'll have to do a separate review on that bag because I just think it's amazing. I've had it for many years, and I've taken it to several different locations with all my gear, and it works amazingly. So my primary camera for my Canon system is the Canon R8. I do use the EF to RF adapter, so you'll see that I have mostly EF glass for this. I also added the official Canon accessory grip. I bought this as soon as it was announced, and there were no third-party grips available for it, so maybe they are now, I don't know, but I've always been happy with this since it's OEM. It fits perfectly. You know, you can still get to the battery and card slot here, no problem. It fits perfectly. And I also like the color red. Now, these EP17 batteries are absolutely tiny. They don't last very long at all, particularly if you're using mixed photos and videos. So whenever I go out, I have 3 fully charged batteries. Okay, as far as lenses are concerned, I always kind of joke around and say that I have the poor man's Holy Trinity of lenses. So these are all EF, they're all f4, but at least they're all L lenses. So the quality is really good. They're all very sharp, very fast focusing, very little ghosting, chromatic aberration, all the kind of things that you would expect from L lenses, except again they're f4, not f2.8. So my walking around lens is just the 24-105. You can see this one is well used. Broken lens hood and all. Now for sports, or for taking moon pics, I love taking pictures of the full moon. I have the 70-200. This is the OG, man. This is f4, no image stabilization. Third party tripod collar on there. It does come at least with the OEM hood. Now, if you'll notice, take this off, you can see that there's two UV filters there. And the reason why there's two is because on one New Year's Day, we were on North Shore, I was eating at a restaurant, I had my ThinkTank bag hanging on the back of my chair at a restaurant. It slipped off, and I promise you, it did not fall more than 1 foot. But unfortunately, it was in the bag like this. And when I pulled the bag out, believe it or not, the UV filter was broken. So I know there's all this debate about whether or not you should put these cheap UV filters in front of a good lens. That at least saved me that day, because if I didn't have the UV filter on there, it probably would have broken the front element. Now, the downside is that it dinged it, and so I can't get it off. But at least I could screw another one on there for protection. And as far as I know, it's not causing any unwanted vignetting. And this actually is one of my favorite lenses. I know I said it was mostly for sports and, you know, taking moonshots, but I do also use this for portraiture, but because it does not have image stabilization, and the R8 does not have image stabilization, you really have to have steady hands to use this for portraiture. But I love the creamy bokeh that this produces, and just the compression. I do have one wide angle lens. This is the 16-35 f4. I use this primarily for landscapes and seascapes. Recently we've been getting into car and motorcycle shows, so we've been using it to take pictures there. I mean, it's really helpful to have a wide angle lens in that environment. Of the three, this is probably my least used lens, as you can probably tell. No broken lens hood, no double UV filter, and in fact it looks brand new. And finally, I have one RF lens, and it is the 50mm 1.8. You know, everyone needs a nifty 50, so I just decided to get this one. It is in fact the cheapest of the RF lenses, so that's another reason to pick it up. I also have a flash for this system. Let's see. This is the Canon 430 EXII. I have had this flash for forever. I think I bought it when I bought my Canon 7D, the original 7D. So when the kids were younger, we used to do a lot of event photography, right? Like recitals and plays and that kind of thing. So it's always helpful to have a flash, but I hardly ever use one these days. Now, I love my big Canon bodies. I love my big Canon L lenses. I think the pictures they produce are just exceptional. The sharpness, the color, and the ease with which you can take really good pictures with a Canon system. I enjoy that like 100%. Unfortunately, Father Time is catching up to me a little, and whereas I used to carry this kit all over with me, traveling from Hawaii to the mainland to Guam, I used to take this kit hiking with me. Currently, I'm not really able to do that. The hard part are the lenses, right? Those L lenses, they have an incredible build to them. And again, incredibly sharp, fast focusing, even when you're adapting them to an RF system. But they are just really heavy. If you've been following the channel, you know that I'm gradually switching over to a Sony system, mainly for the compactness and for the lightness. But I did want to show it in the bag that I carried around in. This is the orange WANDRD 9-liter bag. I really love the texture of this bag. It feels like a compliant soft rubber material. The zippers are smooth and quiet. I love this extra touch with the zipper pulls here. And then even going around the corners, you'll see they do not get snagged. So it's still very smooth, very quiet. And I think this 9-liter bag is just the right size for a small everyday carry kit. It has a front pocket, a front slit pocket that is, you know, just big enough for the basics. There is a keychain here. You can put things in here like a pen, microfiber cloth, extra SD cards. Of course, for me, I put my lactate in there, you know. So just the basics on the front. And then with these straps, you can carry a jacket using these straps. You could probably also use it for a small tripod, but there is a trick here at the bottom of the bag. This section expands and it becomes a little sleeve. And I've carried both my tripod in here, and I've also carried a water bottle in here. So you can put it in this little sleeve and cinch it up using this elastic cord. Then when it's not in use, there's Velcro to Velcro it down. You'll notice that there are 3 handles on this bag. There's a top handle, and then each of the sides has a handle as well. So that makes it really easy to grab out of the trunk, out of the overhead of an airplane. So that makes it very, very convenient. Very quickly, just looking at the back panel, sorry folks, it will not fit in the frame here, but it does have this mesh on it, and it makes it very breathable. You can also tell there's a little bit of a indent here to let the air flow. It's very comfortable against the body, no matter how much you pack into the bag. Also, I like that the panel extends this little bit past the bag, and therefore the hardware doesn't hit your body. So that's really a nice touch. Now, if we go into the inside, again with that smooth zipper, you'll see that there's a top pocket. Turn the bag around. Again, this is just the perfect size. Usually what I put in here are spare cords, or sometimes cards. I put a microphone in here and a tripod foot, something in here, a little spare carabiner. Again, just the right size for an everyday lightweight kit. The other thing that I really love about this bag that other bag designers can take note of is, see these dividers? I mean, they look like the same dividers you get in any other bag. However, these have plastic inside. So not only are they padded, they're also very stiff, and it helps the bag keep its shape. And so, like other bags that don't have stiff dividers, just depending on how you reach in there, sometimes they're clamping closed and you have to reach in there and grab your gear. But this helps maintain the distance between the compartments, and it also just helps to maintain the shape of the bag. And this is what my Sony kit looks like when it's in here. I have the body with the zoom lens, and then I have my MC-11 adapter with a prime lens, and then a Viltrox prime lens down at the bottom. Now on this side, I usually have my Lume Cube, but I'm actually using a Lume Cube now to illuminate this table. Now in the back of the bag, I hope I can get this on camera, you can see that there's this divider, and then behind the divider there are pockets. So these 3 mesh pockets with the elastic tops, they're absolutely the right size for SD cards and for my batteries. So the batteries for my Canon camera, they fit perfectly within these slots. So the main compartment here also serves as a pocket. And then these 2 slit pockets, they are the perfect size for lens caps. I don't know if you're like me, but I lose my lens caps all the time, and I can tell you that these are the perfect size for them. Now there is one more pocket. In the back you'll see that there's a big zipped pocket here. Now I use this mainly for my phone, my wallet, my AirPods. Since it's right up against my body, I figure those are the most secure spots for that, and that also makes it easy to quick grab in case I need to take a call or make a call. But you'll notice that there's also this strap. So this pocket has a little trick to it. The bottom actually drops out a few inches, and then you can actually put like a larger tablet in there, or even a laptop. And so when you put the device in, then you strap this part over the top to secure it. As much as I love this bag, I absolutely hate the strap. I mean, look at it. Why does it have to be so thin? Here's the padded section. Here's the other side of the strap. So I just wish it was a little bit thicker throughout the entire strap. The other thing, I don't know if you're noticing this, but the strap is asymmetrical. So there's lots of adjustment on this side, But then on this side, there's hardly any adjustment at all. And so I don't know if it's because I'm extra husky sized, or because even though I'm right-handed, I actually like to sling the bag over my right shoulder so that it sits underneath my left arm. But because of this asymmetrical design, I just, for some reason, cannot get it to the right length. I've switched them, in other words, you know, put the short side on this side, the long side on this side, and I still just cannot get this padded section to hit the right part of my shoulder. I just like this strap so much, in fact, that I thought about replacing the strap, but unfortunately, you can see that they use a proprietary clip. So you can't just put any strap on there. But regardless, I still like the bag. I still recommend it. Again, I think it's the perfect size. They make it in 2 other sizes. Okay, on to the actual gear. This is no big surprise. This is a Sony A7CII. This is the Viltrox 40mm 2.5 with the provided lens hood. The more I shoot with this lens, the more I like it. I shot some at a street market, a little bit in Waikiki, and then some in my recent trip to Savannah, Georgia. It also is very light, fast focusing, and it keeps this whole setup very small and compact. I did do a photo walk with this lens for the 40th anniversary of the Honolulu City Lights. I'll make sure to post a link to that video in the description below. The only zoom lens I have for the Sony A7CII is this Tamron 28 to 75mm f2.8. This is the most current version. This is the G2. And I've always wanted to try this lens. I've always heard good things about it, and now that I have it, I really like it. I mean, it's really light. I like that it has the focus button there, which I have set to subject recognition on and off. I did update the firmware as soon as I got it. And I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, it is very fast focusing. Pictures are very sharp. The color rendition is very good. The only thing that I would say about it is that I do miss the 24mm. So you would think that 4mm really wouldn't make that much of a difference. But it does, particularly in a travel situation when you may not be able to back up. For instance, I was on River Street in Savannah, Georgia just recently, and I was very close to the edge of the river and still not being able to fit in these buildings that I wanted to take a picture of. So the extra 4mm can make a difference. I did a photo walk with this lens around Magic Island in Honolulu. I'll make sure to post a link to that video in the description below. This is an EF 50mm f1.8. So another nifty 50, fantastic plastic. But what I have is I have the Sigma MC-11 adapter, and I've been using this on the A7C for portraits, and it works remarkably well. This is an old adapter, and this is a very old lens, but it does focus accurately. I noticed in low light it takes a while, so sometimes it struggles, and I don't think the face recognition and autofocus works as well as with native lenses, but it's good enough. And so I've been carrying this in my bag along with the other lenses as well. So this makes for a really compact kit. I mean, I'll put all this together here. And you can see compared to, my Canon kit. I mean, my goodness. It saves a lot of space. Now, what I don't have in this kit obviously isn't wide angle lens. I was thinking maybe of getting the matching Tamron 20 to 40 2.8 lens. Now I think between that lens and this lens I would have most of my focal lengths that I like to use. I think I would have them all covered. The only thing I wouldn't have covered actually would be the telephoto end, but I think for that I would probably just use the MC-11 adapter and then just use it with my Canon EF 70-200. Adapting it, I would have the benefit of then having some image stabilization via the image stabilization built into the body. I would say for this kit though, the one thing that I'm really missing is a flash. I took some pictures over at Honolulu Hale, and I'll post some pictures. I really could have used a flash, just a little bit of fill flash to fill in the foreground. And then my parents' 60th anniversary, we had a big party for them. I was trying to order a Godox flash for this system, but it would not come in time. And so I wound up shooting the entire event without a flash. So you can see in the two examples that I'm providing here, I think just a touch of flash would have made these come out a little bit better. Now, if you're looking at the EXIF data, you can see that the situation was compounded by the fact that at some point, my exposure compensation was knocked down by a full stop. Now, I'm willing to take some of the blame for that based on user error, but if you look at my previous videos on the A7 and the A7 II, I was saying that the exposure simulation through the electronic viewfinder is just not that good. And I've noticed recently that a lot of my pictures suddenly were underexposed, even though they look fine in the EVF. Well, I scoured the internet and I found a video from 5 years ago that explains why that is the case. However, I'm going to save that discussion for another video. Well, that's it. That's all the gear, new and old, that I intend to use in calendar year 2025. If you have any questions regarding any of the cameras or lenses or bags that we talked about today, please let me know in the comments below. If you stuck around to the end of the video, mahalo, I really appreciate it. Please drop a like if you enjoyed any of this content, and make sure to subscribe for future videos. Mahalo.